The candles on Jessica's birthday cake flickered like tiny funeral pyres, and I should have taken that as a sign. 38 candles for 38 years of my wife's life, and 15 guests packed around the corner table at Romano's, the kind of upscale Italian joint where they charge you $24 for pasta that costs $3 to make at home. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm Nick Brennan, and I used to think I knew my wife. Speech, speech, called out Lana, Jessica's best friend from the law firm, waving her wine glass like a conductor's baton. The Pinot Grigio had been flowing for 2 hours, and everyone was feeling generous with my credit card. Jessica stood up, smoothing down her black cocktail dress, the one I'd bought her for Christmas. Her blonde hair caught the restaurant's warm lighting, and for a moment, she looked like the woman I'd married 12 years ago. Then she opened her mouth. You know what? Jessica's voice carried that particular tone I'd learned to dread, the one she used in court when she was about to destroy someone's life. I'm bored out of my mind. The table went quiet. Even the waiter, who'd been hovering nearby with another bottle of wine, froze mid-step. Jess, I started, but she held up her hand. No, Nick, I'm done pretending. She pulled out her phone, fingers flying across the screen. Jake's picking me up in 5 minutes. Jake Morrison, her coworker, the guy with the Tesla and the trust fund and the kind of smile that made me want to check my wallet after shaking his hand. What are you talking about? I kept my voice low, aware of 15 pairs of eyes watching this train wreck unfold. Jessica laughed, but it wasn't the laugh I'd fallen in love with. This was something sharp and cruel. I'm talking about honesty, Nick. You want honesty? Here it is. She turned to face the entire table, like she was addressing a jury. I've been seeing Jake for 6 months. And you know why? Because you're ugly, you're broke, and you're boring as hell. I can't stand another minute of pretending I'm happy with a 42-year-old carpenter who thinks Olive Garden is fine dining. The silence that followed was deafening. Someone's fork clattered against their plate. Be grateful I even dated you this long, she continued, slinging her purse over her shoulder. Most women would have left years ago. That's when I noticed Lana had her phone out, recording the whole thing. Her eyes were bright with excitement, like she was watching her favorite reality show. Jessica, sit down, I said quietly. We can talk about this at home. Home? She laughed again. That cramped little rental house? With your power tools in the living room and beer cans stacked on the kitchen counter? That's not a home, Nick. That's a frat house for middle-aged losers. A car honked outside. Through the window I could see Jake's silver Tesla idling in the parking lot. There's my ride, Jessica announced. Oh, and Nick? Happy birthday to me. Thanks for the party. She walked out, heels clicking against the hardwood floor, leaving me sitting there with 14 mortified guests and a bill that was about to ruin my month. Lana was still recording. Turn that off, I said. Oh, come on, Nick. This is gold. She giggled, wine making her bold. Ugly, broke, and boring? That's going viral for sure. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the floor. Every eye in the restaurant was on our table now. The waiter approached cautiously, holding the leather check folder like it might explode. Your total tonight comes to $1,247, he said apologetically. $1,200, more than my mortgage payment. For a dinner I didn't even want, celebrating a woman who'd just eviscerated me in public. I pulled out my credit card, the one that was already maxed out from Jessica's shopping sprees, and handed it over. My hands were steady, but inside, something was breaking apart and reforming into something harder. Nick, I'm so sorry, whispered Janet, one of Jessica's colleagues. I had no idea she was... Don't, I said quietly. Just don't. The waiter returned, looking uncomfortable. Sir, your card was declined. Of course it was. Jessica had been using it all week. I pulled out my debit card, the one connected to my business account. The money I'd been saving to buy new equipment for my carpentry business. Gone. As I signed the receipt, I could hear whispers around the table. Lana was still filming, narrating quietly into her phone. So, Jessica just destroyed her husband at her own birthday party. This is insane. I stood up, pocketed my wallet, and looked around the table at these people I'd considered friends. Jessica's law school buddies, her coworkers, the couple from down the street who'd been to our barbecues every summer for 5 years. "Thanks for coming," I said. "Enjoy the rest of your evening." I walked out of Romano's with as much dignity as I could muster, but I could feel their eyes burning into my back. In the parking lot, I could see Jessica in Jake's Tesla, laughing at something on her phone, probably watching Lana's video. My truck, a 10-year-old Ford F-150 with rust spots and a dent in the tailgate, sat alone under a streetlight. I climbed in, started the engine, and sat there for a moment, letting it all sink in. Ugly, broke, and boring. $1,200 poorer, humiliated in front of 15 people, and recorded for posterity. I pulled out my phone and called Ray, my younger brother. "Nick, how was the birthday dinner?" "Ray," I said, watching Jake's Tesla pull out of the parking lot. "You ever get left holding the check and your balls at the same time?" "What happened?" "Jessica happened. She just turned my life into a punchline." There was a pause. "Where are you?" "Romano's parking lot, contemplating whether it's cheaper to burn my credit cards or frame them." "I'll be right there." "No, don't. I'm fine." I wasn't fine, but I needed to think. "Ray, remember when we were kids and Tommy Kellerman used to pick on you at school?" "Yeah, you told me to hit him back twice as hard." "That's right, and what happened?" "He never bothered me again." I watched the Tesla's taillights disappear around a corner. "Sometimes the best defense is a good offense," I said. "Nick, what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking it's time to stop being the nice guy." I hung up and sat in my truck for another 10 minutes, making a mental list. Jessica's car, the Honda Civic she drove, was registered in my name because her credit was shot from law school loans. Her cell phone was on my plan. The rent on her apartment was paid from our joint account. Our joint account that I'd been funding for 3 years while she established her career. Ugly, broke, and boring. We'd see about that. I drove home to our little rental house, the one she'd just called a frat house for middle-aged losers, and started making phone calls. First, I called the police non-emergency line. "I'd like to report a stolen vehicle," I said. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Most were from Jessica, but a few were from numbers I didn't recognize. Word was spreading fast. I made coffee in my cramped little kitchen, ignoring the buzzing phone on the counter. Through the window, I could see Mrs. Patterson from next door, peeking through her curtains. Small towns are like that. Everyone knows your business before you do. The coffee was bitter, but it matched my mood perfectly. My phone rang again. This time it was Ray. "Jesus Christ, Nick, what did you do?" "Good morning to you too, brother. I just got a call from Jessica's mother. She's crying, asking me to talk sense into you. Something about Jessica getting arrested?" I took a sip of coffee and smiled for the first time in 12 hours. "Not arrested, just detained. Apparently driving a stolen vehicle gets you pulled over. The Honda's in your name." "Exactly. And since she no longer lives at my address, and I never gave her permission to take it—" "You magnificent bastard." "I prefer ugly, broke, and boring, thank you very much." Ray laughed. "So what's next?" "Well, I canceled her phone service this morning. Amazing how much money you save when you're not paying for unlimited data for someone who hates you." "And?" "And I may have mentioned to our landlord that Jessica no longer lives here. Turns out having unauthorized occupants violates the lease agreement." "Nick, she wanted honesty, Ray. I'm being honest. Honestly, I'm tired of paying for someone else's life while they shit all over mine." My phone buzzed with another text. This one was from Lana. "Nick, you need to fix this. Jessica is freaking out." I typed back, "Tell Jessica I'm ugly, broke, and boring. I'm sure she can handle her own problems. The response came immediately. This isn't funny. She's homeless. She's got Jake. I'm sure his Tesla has plenty of room. I blocked Lana's number. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I could see a woman in a business suit holding a clipboard. Behind her stood Jessica, looking like she'd slept in her car, which, come to think of it, she probably had. I opened the door. Mr. Brennan? I'm Sandra Willis from Morrison Property Management. We need to discuss your lease agreement. Of course. Come in. I stepped aside, deliberately ignoring Jessica. Would you like some coffee? It's a little bitter, but then again, so am I these days. Sandra Willis looked uncomfortable. Mr. Brennan, your lease specifically states that only authorized occupants may reside on the premises, I finished. I'm aware. That's why I called. Jessica pushed past the property manager. Nick, what the hell is wrong with you? Funny question, coming from someone who called me ugly, broke, and boring in front of 15 people last night. I was drunk. I didn't mean... Oh, you meant it. And you know what? You were right about the broke part. I'm $1,200 broker this morning thanks to your little performance. Sandra Willis cleared her throat. Perhaps we could discuss this privately? No need, I said. Jessica was just leaving. Permanently. This is my apartment, too. Actually, Sandra said, consulting her clipboard, the lease is in Mr. Brennan's name only. Ms. Brennan, you're listed as an authorized occupant, but Mr. Brennan has the right to revoke that authorization with 24 hours' notice. Which I did, I added helpfully. Yesterday at 11:47 p.m. to be precise. Jessica's face went white. You can't do this. I can, and I did. Just like you can call me ugly in public and leave me with a $1,200 dinner bill. Funny how that works. Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged. Jake's got that nice Tesla. I hear German engineering is very comfortable. Nick, please. I made a mistake. No, Jessica. You made a choice. You chose to humiliate me in front of our friends. You chose to record it for social media. You chose Jake over me. Now I'm choosing me over you. Sandra Willis was scribbling notes furiously. Ms. Brennan, you have until 6 p.m. today to remove your personal belongings. After that, anything left on the premises becomes the responsibility of the tenant. This is insane. Jessica turned to me, and for a moment, I saw desperation in her eyes. Nick, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. The time for counseling was before you decided to destroy me for entertainment. My phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Saw the video. Your wife's a real piece of work. You're better off without her. Then another. Dude, that birthday dinner thing is all over Facebook. Jessica's getting roasted in the comments. And another. Nick, this is Tom from the job site. Just wanted to say we're all pulling for you, man. I showed Jessica the messages. Looks like I'm not as alone as you thought. Her face crumpled. I didn't know Lana posted it online. Of course you did. You stood there and let her film it. You probably helped her write the caption. Sandra Willis finished her paperwork. Mr. Brennan, everything appears to be in order. Ms. Brennan, you have until 6 p.m. After they left, I sat down at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. A quick Facebook search brought up Lana's page, and there it was. Birthday meltdown. Wife destroys husband at fancy dinner party. The video had been viewed 847 times and shared 23 times. The comments were, interesting. Holy crap, what a witch. Poor guy, he looks devastated. She called him ugly. Look in a mirror, lady. Anyone know this guy? Someone should buy him a beer. But there were other comments too. He must have done something to deserve it. She's probably been unhappy for years. Good for her for speaking her truth. Those were mostly from Jessica's law school friends, her echo chamber, telling her she was brave and empowered for destroying her marriage in public. I scrolled through the comments, taking screenshots of the particularly nasty ones, evidence in case I needed it later. My phone rang. The caller ID showed Jessica's office number. Hello? Nick, It's David Chen from Morrison, Willis and Associates. I need to speak with you about Jessica. David Chen was Jessica's boss. Senior partner, sharp dresser, the kind of lawyer who charged $500 an hour to argue about parking tickets. What about her? This video that's circulating online, it's becoming a problem. Our clients expect a certain level of professionalism from our staff. I see. And Jessica humiliating her husband in public doesn't meet that standard? Look, Nick, I like you. You seem like a decent guy, but this situation is reflecting poorly on the firm. If you could ask Jessica to have the video taken down. I didn't post the video, Mr. Chen, and I can't control what Jessica's friends do with their social media accounts. But you could ask. I could, but I won't. Jessica made her choice. She wanted the world to know how she really feels about me. Well, now they do. There was a long pause. I see. Mr. Chen, can I ask you something? If one of your male attorneys had done this to his wife, called her ugly and boring in front of 15 people, then left her with a $1,200 bill, what would happen to his career? Another pause. That's different. Is it? Or is it exactly the same? I'll be in touch, Nick. He hung up. I spent the rest of the morning working in my garage, building a bookshelf for Mrs. Patterson. The rhythmic sound of sawing and hammering helped clear my head. This was what I was good at, creating things, fixing things, making something useful out of raw materials. Too bad I couldn't fix my marriage the same way. Around noon, Jake's Tesla pulled into my driveway. Jake Morrison stepped out of his Tesla like he was posing for a magazine cover. Pressed khakis, polo shirt, loafers that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He had that particular brand of confidence that comes from never having to worry about money, never having to choose between paying the electric bill and buying groceries. I set down my hammer and wiped my hands on a rag. Nick, he said, flashing that $1 million smile. We need to talk. Do we? Because I'm pretty sure Jessica covered everything last night. Something about me being ugly, broke, and boring. His smile faltered slightly. Look, I know this is awkward. Awkward? I laughed. Jake, my wife just left me for you after humiliating me in front of 15 people and sticking me with a $1,200 dinner bill. Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. She didn't mean to hurt you. She recorded it for social media, Jake. She literally turned my pain into content. That was Lana, not Jessica. And Jessica stopped her, told her to put the phone away, protected her husband's dignity. Jake shifted uncomfortably. She was emotional. She was cruel. There's a difference. I picked up my hammer again, testing its weight in my hand. Jake took a step back. Easy there, Nick. I'm not here to fight. Then why are you here? Jessica needs her things, and she needs you to stop. Whatever this is you're doing. You mean holding her accountable for her actions? I mean being vindictive, reporting her car stolen, getting her evicted. That's not solving anything. I set the hammer down on my workbench, but kept my hand on it. Jake, let me explain something to you. For 3 years, I've been paying Jessica's rent, her car insurance, her credit card bills, her student loans. I've been funding her life while she established her career at your law firm. She's a good lawyer. I'm sure she is. But she's also been lying to me for 6 months while she screwed around with you. So forgive me if I'm not feeling particularly generous. Jake straightened up, trying to look authoritative. Nick, you need to be reasonable here. Jessica made a mistake, but destroying her life isn't the answer. I'm not destroying anything, Jake. I'm just not paying for it anymore. She could lose her job over this video. Then maybe she shouldn't have made it. Come on, man. She was drunk. She was upset. About what? About being married to me? Because if that's the case, she's got what she wanted now. Jake ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair. Look, I'll pay you back for the dinner. The $1,200. Just call off the dogs. It's not about the money. Then what is it about? I looked at him. Really looked at him. Designer clothes, expensive watch, Car that cost more than I made in 2 years. Everything I wasn't. Everything Jessica apparently wanted. It's about respect, Jake. Something you and Jessica seem to think I don't deserve. That's not true. Isn't it? Then why are you here instead of her? Why isn't she apologizing herself? She's scared of you right now. Good. She should be. Not because I'm going to hurt her, but because for the first time in our marriage, there are consequences for her actions. Jake's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, then showed me the screen. It was a text from Jessica. Where are you? Lana says the video has 2,000 views now. People are calling the office. Looks like your girlfriend's having a rough day, I said. Nick, please, just make this stop. I can't make it stop, Jake. It's already out there. The internet is forever, remember? You could ask people to take it down. Why would I do that? Jessica wanted everyone to know how she really felt about me. Mission accomplished. Jake's phone rang. He answered it without looking at the caller ID. Hello? What? No, I can't come in right now. I'm dealing with a situation. What do you mean, suspended? I couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but Jake's face went pale. Mr. Chen, I can explain. It's complicated. Yes, sir, I understand. He hung up and stared at his phone. Let me guess, I said. Your boss isn't happy about the video either. They've suspended Jessica pending an investigation, and they want to see me first thing Monday morning. Turns out actions have consequences. Who knew? This is insane. One stupid video and our careers are on the line? Not one stupid video, Jake. 6 months of lying and cheating, culminating in one very public humiliation. There's a difference. Jake's composure finally cracked. What do you want from us, Nick? What's it going to take to make this right? I thought about it for a moment. I want Jessica to stand in front of those same 15 people and apologize. I want her to admit she was wrong. I want her to take responsibility for what she did. And then you'll make the video go away? I can't make the video go away, Jake. It's not mine to control, but I'll stop actively making her life difficult. Fine. I'll talk to her. You do that. But Jake? Next time you want to steal someone's wife, maybe don't do it in such a public way. It tends to piss people off. After Jake left, I went back to work on Mrs. Patterson's bookshelf, but I couldn't concentrate. My phone kept buzzing with notifications, friend requests, messages, comments on the video that had been shared to my timeline. Some were supportive. Hang in there, Nick. You deserve better. Your wife's loss, man. Stay strong. Anyone who treats their spouse like that isn't worth your time. But others were critical. There's 2 sides to every story. Maybe if you'd been a better husband, she wouldn't have cheated. Getting her evicted is pretty low, dude. Those last ones stung because part of me wondered if they were right. Had I been a bad husband? Had I driven Jessica away? Then I remembered the look on her face when she called me ugly, the satisfaction in her voice when she said I was boring, the way she'd posed for Lana's camera like she was accepting an award. No, I wasn't perfect, but I didn't deserve that. My phone rang. It was Ray. Nick, you need to see something. What now? Lana posted another video. This one's different. Different how? She's defending Jessica, saying you're abusive, that Jessica was scared to leave you, that the birthday dinner was her cry for help. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. She's lying. I know that, and you know that, but she's got 1,000 followers, and this new video is getting shared like crazy. What's she saying exactly? That you've been financially controlling Jessica for years, that you threatened her when she tried to leave, that you're using your male privilege to destroy her career. I sat down heavily on my workbench stool. Jesus. It gets worse. She started a GoFundMe for Jessica. Help a domestic abuse survivor rebuild her life. It's already raised $800. This is insane. Nick, you need to get ahead of this. People are starting to believe her version. I hung up and immediately opened Facebook. Lana's new video was right there at the top of my feed, shared by 3 mutual friends with comments like, "I knew there was more to the story," and "Poor Jessica, so brave for speaking out." In the video, Lana sat in her car, makeup perfectly applied, speaking directly to the camera with the kind of earnest sincerity that made my skin crawl. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened at Jessica's birthday dinner," she said, "and I realize I need to speak up for my friend. What you saw in that video wasn't a woman being cruel to her husband. It was a woman finally finding the courage to escape an abusive relationship." My hands clenched into fists. "Nick Brennan has been financially controlling Jessica for years," Lana continued. "He pays her bills, but he uses that as leverage to control her every move. He isolates her from friends, monitors her spending, and makes her feel like she owes him everything. When Jessica finally found the strength to leave, he retaliated by getting her evicted and having her arrested. This is textbook domestic abuse, and I won't stand by and watch my friend be destroyed by her abuser." The video had 1,247 views and counting. The comments were brutal. "Thank you for speaking up for Jessica. I knew that guy seemed like a creep. Men like this are dangerous. Jessica needs to get a restraining order. The way he's retaliating proves she was right to leave." I stared at the screen, watching my reputation dissolve in real time. 3 days ago, I was Nick Brennan, carpenter and husband. Now, I was Nick Brennan, alleged domestic abuser and financial manipulator, all because I'd refused to keep paying for the life of a woman who hated me. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We know what you did to Jessica. We're watching you." Then another, "Abusers like you make me sick." And another, "Hope you're proud of yourself, destroying an innocent woman's life." I turned off my phone and sat in my garage, surrounded by the smell of sawdust and the tools I'd spent years collecting. This was my sanctuary, the place where things made sense, where problems had solutions and hard work produced results. But I couldn't build my way out of this one. By Sunday morning, Lana's domestic abuse video had been viewed over 5,000 times, and Jessica's GoFundMe had raised $2,400. I'd received 17 threatening messages, 12 friend requests from people who wanted to keep an eye on me, and 1 marriage proposal from a woman in Nebraska who thought I looked lonely. I was drinking my 3rd cup of coffee when someone pounded on my front door like they were trying to break it down. Through the peephole, I could see 3 people I recognized, Tom and Linda Garrison from down the street, and Mike Crawford from Jessica's law firm. They'd been at the birthday dinner, sitting right across from me when Jessica delivered her performance. I opened the door. "Nick," Tom said, his face red with anger, "we need to talk." "Good morning to you too, Tom." "Cut the shit. We know what you did to Jessica." "And what exactly did I do?" Linda stepped forward. "You got her evicted. You had her arrested. You're trying to destroy her career. I stopped paying for her apartment and reported my own car stolen. Everything else is just consequences." "Consequences?" Mike laughed bitterly. "You call domestic abuse consequences?" "Domestic abuse?" I stared at them. "You were there, Mike. You saw what happened. Jessica humiliated me in front of 15 people, then stuck me with a $1,200 bill. How exactly is that me abusing her?" "Lana explained everything," Linda said. "How you've been controlling Jessica financially, isolating her from friends." "Isolating her?" "I paid for every girls' night out, every law school reunion, every weekend trip to see her sister. I've been funding her social life for 3 years. That's not what Lana says. Lana wasn't there for any of it. Lana's been Jessica's friend for what, 6 months? I've been Jessica's husband for 12 years. Tom crossed his arms. "So you're saying Lana's lying?" "I'm saying Lana's spinning a story that makes Jessica look like a victim instead of someone who cheated on her husband and humiliated him in public." "Even if that's true," Mike said, "getting her evicted was going too far." "Was it?" Tell me, Mike, if your wife cheated on you for 6 months, then called you ugly and boring in front of your friends, would you keep paying her rent? That's different. How is it different? Because I'm a man, and men are supposed to just take it? Is that what you're saying? Linda's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then showed it to Tom and Mike. Jessica just posted something. They huddled around the phone, reading whatever Jessica had written. Their expressions grew darker. What now? I asked. Tom looked up. She says you threatened her yesterday, that you held a hammer and told her you'd make her pay for leaving you. That's bullshit. Jake came here. I was working in my garage, and I never threatened anyone. She's got witnesses, Linda said. Jake confirmed it. Of course he did. I should have seen this coming. You know what? I said. I'm done explaining myself to people who've already made up their minds. You want to believe I'm some kind of monster? Fine. But you were there Thursday night. You saw what really happened. If you choose to ignore that in favor of Lana's fairy tale, that's on you. I started to close the door, but Tom stuck his foot in the way. We're not finished. Yeah, we are. Nick, if you don't stop harassing Jessica, we're going to the police. Harassing her? I haven't spoken to Jessica since Thursday night. The eviction, the car, trying to get her fired? I stopped paying for things that weren't mine. I reported my own property stolen, and I never contacted her employer. Her boss called me. That's not how Jessica tells it. Jessica lies, Tom. That's what cheaters do. Mike stepped closer. You're making this worse for yourself, Nick. The more you fight back, the more guilty you look. And the more I roll over and take it, the more it proves I'm weak, right? Funny how that works. Just leave her alone, Linda said. She's been through enough. She's been through enough? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. She cheated on me for 6 months, humiliated me in public, cost me $1,200 I couldn't afford, and now she's telling people I'm an abuser, but she's the one who's been through enough? She was unhappy in the marriage. Then she should have divorced me instead of cheating on me. Tom pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. Tell them I stopped paying my cheating wife's bills. I'm sure they'll be very concerned. But as Tom dialed, I felt a chill run down my spine. It didn't matter what the truth was. Jessica and Lana had gotten their story out first, and in the court of public opinion, the first story is usually the one people believe. 20 minutes later, Officer Sarah Martinez was sitting in my living room, taking notes. Mr. Brennan, I need to ask you about your interactions with your estranged wife. What interactions? I haven't seen Jessica since Thursday night. What about yesterday? Mr. Morrison says you threatened her. Jake Morrison came to my house uninvited. I was working in my garage. At no point did I threaten anyone. He says you picked up a hammer and made threatening statements. I picked up a hammer because I was using it to build a bookshelf. And the only thing I threatened was to stop paying Jessica's bills. Officer Martinez made a note. Mr. Brennan, your wife has filed a complaint alleging financial abuse and intimidation. She's requesting a restraining order. Financial abuse? I've been supporting her for 3 years while she established her career. How is that abuse? According to her statement, you used financial support as a means of control. I used financial support as a means of keeping a roof over her head and food on her table. She also alleges that you've been stalking her social media accounts and encouraging others to harass her online. I looked at a video that was posted publicly, the same video where she called me ugly, broke, and boring in front of 15 people. As for harassment, I can't control what other people post in the comments. Officer Martinez closed her notebook. Mr. Brennan, I'm going to give you some advice. Stay away from your wife. Don't contact her. Don't go to her workplace. Don't drive by her apartment. Let your lawyers handle the divorce proceedings. What apartment? I thought she was evicted. She's staying with friends. Let me guess. Lana? I can't discuss the details of her living situation. After Officer Martinez left, I sat in my empty house and tried to process what was happening. In the span of 4 days, I'd gone from married carpenter to alleged domestic abuser. My friends were turning against me, my reputation was in ruins, and my wife was crowdfunding her escape from our abusive marriage, all because I'd stopped being a doormat. My phone rang. Ray's number. "Nick, we have a problem." "Just one? I'm up to about 15 at this point." "Someone posted your address on Facebook. There's a group of women planning to protest outside your house." I looked out my front window. Sure enough, I could see cars parked across the street that I didn't recognize. "When?" "Tomorrow morning. They're calling it a Stand with Jessica rally." "Perfect, because what this situation really needs is more publicity." "Nick, maybe you should come stay with me for a few days. Let this blow over." "No, I'm not running from my own house because my cheating wife decided to play victim. This is getting dangerous, man. People are really worked up. Then maybe they should get worked up about the right person." But as I hung up, I realized Ray was right. This was spiraling out of control, and I was losing the narrative war badly. Jessica and Lana had painted me as the villain, and every move I made to defend myself just seemed to confirm their story. I needed to change tactics. I needed to go on the offensive. Monday morning brought 12 protesters to my front yard, 3 news vans, and a headache that felt like someone was using my skull for hammer practice. The Stand with Jessica rally consisted mostly of middle-aged women holding signs that said things like, "Believe survivors," and "Financial abuse is real abuse." I watched from my bedroom window as Channel 7's morning reporter interviewed Linda Garrison, who was explaining to the camera how I was a dangerous man who had systematically destroyed Jessica's life. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone had been ringing non-stop since 6 a.m. Reporters, friends, strangers who'd gotten my number from God knows where. I'd stopped answering after the 5th call from someone wanting to interview Jessica's abuser, but then Ray called. "Nick, you need to see this. If it's another video of someone calling me a monster, I'll pass." "It's not. It's Jake's ex-girlfriend. She just posted something on Facebook that changes everything." I grabbed my laptop and opened Facebook. Ray had sent me a link to a post from someone named Amanda Chen, no relation to Jessica's boss, apparently. The post was long, detailed, and absolutely devastating. I've been watching this Nick Brennan situation unfold, and I need to speak up. I dated Jake Morrison for 2 years, and I know exactly what kind of man he is. Jake has a pattern of pursuing married women. He gets off on the challenge, the secrecy, the drama of stealing someone else's wife. He did it to me with my best friend, and now he's done it to Jessica Brennan with her husband. But here's what Jake told me about Jessica. He said she was easy prey because she was unhappy and insecure. He said her husband was a blue-collar loser who would never fight back. He bragged about how he was going to upgrade her lifestyle and how grateful she'd be. Jake Morrison is a predator who targets vulnerable women in relationships, and Jessica Brennan isn't his victim, she's his accomplice. I've seen the texts between them going back 8 months. Yes, 8 months, not 6. They laughed about her husband. They called him names. They planned how to get rid of him. The birthday dinner wasn't a spontaneous breakdown. It was planned. Jake told Jessica to make it dramatic so she could claim abuse later. Lana was in on it too. She's the one who suggested filming it for evidence. I have screenshots. I have recordings. I have proof of everything I'm saying. Nick Brennan isn't an abuser. He's a man who was systematically betrayed by his wife and her friends, then framed as a monster when he refused to keep paying for his own destruction. I'm posting the evidence in the comments. I scrolled down to the comment section, and there it was. Screenshot after screenshot of text messages between Jake and Amanda, between Jake and Jessica, between Jessica and Lana. 8 months of planning, scheming, and laughing at my expense. Jake to Amanda, 3 months ago. Jessica's husband is such a pathetic loser. She says he actually thinks she loves him. It's hilarious. Jessica to Jake, 2 months ago. Nick bought me another expensive dress for the law firm party. I can't wait to wear it on our first official date after I dump him. Lana to Jessica, 1 month ago. We should film it when you break up with him. The look on his face will be priceless. Jake to Jessica, 1 week ago. Make sure you do it somewhere public. We want witnesses for when you claim he was abusive. And the worst one, from Jessica to Lana the morning after the birthday dinner. Did you see how pathetic he looked? I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. I stared at the screen, feeling something break inside my chest. It wasn't heartbreak. That had happened Thursday night. This was something different. This was the death of whatever small part of me had still believed Jessica might have loved me once. They had planned it. All of it. The public humiliation, the recording, the abuse allegations. I wasn't just a cheating victim. I was the mark in an elaborate con game. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Brennan? This is Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News. I was wondering if you'd like to respond to some new allegations that have surfaced regarding your wife's affair. What allegations? A woman named Amanda Chen has posted what she claims are text messages proving that your wife and her boyfriend plan to frame you for domestic abuse. Would you care to comment? I looked out my window. The protesters were still there, but they were huddled around their phones, reading something. Their signs were lowering. Mr. Brennan? I'm here, and yes, I'd like to comment. Would you be available for an on-camera interview this afternoon? I'll be available right now. 20 minutes later, I was standing on my front porch, facing 3 news cameras and a crowd of very confused protesters. Jennifer Walsh, a sharp-eyed brunette in her 30s, held a microphone between us. Mr. Brennan, you've been accused of domestic abuse by your estranged wife. How do you respond to those allegations? I respond with evidence, I said, holding up my phone. Evidence that my wife, her boyfriend, and her best friend conspired to frame me for abuse as part of an elaborate scheme to justify their affair. You're referring to the text messages posted by Amanda Chen? I'm referring to 8 months of premeditated betrayal. My wife didn't leave me because I was abusive. She left me because her boyfriend promised her a better lifestyle, and they needed a villain to justify their actions. But the video of the birthday dinner clearly shows... The video shows exactly what they planned it to show. A woman humiliating her husband in public, then claiming victim status when he refuses to keep funding her new life. Behind Jennifer, I could see the protesters reading their phones, their expressions changing from anger to confusion to something that might have been embarrassment. Mr. Brennan, what do you say to people who supported your wife based on her claims of abuse? I say they were lied to by very convincing liars. My wife is a lawyer, trained to present a compelling case. Her boyfriend is a manipulator who targets vulnerable women, and her best friend is someone who gets entertainment value from other people's pain. Do you have any message for your wife? I looked directly into the camera. Jessica, you got what you wanted. You're free, you're with Jake, and you've successfully painted me as the villain in your story. But the truth has a way of coming out, and now everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I hope it was worth it. And what about forgiveness? Some people might say a lot of things, but forgiveness is earned, not given. And you can't earn something you never ask for. The interview lasted 10 more minutes, but those were the sound bites that made the evening news. By 6 p.m., Amanda's Facebook post had been shared over 500 times, and the hashtag #JusticeForNick was trending locally. The protesters had gone home. My phone was ringing again, but this time the calls were different. Nick, this is Dave from the construction site. Just wanted to say we're all behind you, man. Mr. Brennan, this is Janet from the birthday dinner. I owe you an apology. Nick, it's Tom Garrison. Linda and we made a mistake. We're sorry. But the call that mattered most came at 8 p.m. Mr. Brennan, this is David Chen from Morrison, Willis & Associates. I think we need to talk. David Chen's law office occupied the entire top floor of the tallest building in downtown, with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a panoramic view of the city. It was the kind of place designed to intimidate, all marble and mahogany and leather chairs that probably cost more than my truck. I sat across from Chen's massive desk, wearing my best jeans and a button-down shirt that had seen better days. Next to me sat Ray, who'd insisted on coming as my moral support and witness. "Mr. Brennan," Chen began, steepling his fingers, "I owe you an apology." "Do you?" "When I called you Friday, I was operating under the assumption that this situation was a simple marital dispute that had gotten out of hand. I now realize it was considerably more complex." "You mean you realized your employees conspired to frame me for domestic abuse?" Chen winced. "The text messages Ms. Chen provided paint a very disturbing picture of premeditated deception." "That's a lawyer's way of saying they lied, right?" "Yes, Mr. Brennan. They lied." Ray leaned forward. "So, what are you going to do about it?" "As of this morning, both Jessica Brennan and Jake Morrison are no longer employed by this firm." I felt a surge of satisfaction. Fired? Jessica was terminated for conduct unbecoming. Jake was terminated for harassment. Apparently, his pattern of pursuing married women extends to several clients' wives as well. What about Lana? Ms. Patterson doesn't work for us, but I understand she's facing her own consequences. Her employer saw the news coverage and wasn't pleased with her public behavior. Chen opened a folder on his desk. "Mr. Brennan, I have a proposition for you." "I'm listening." "This situation has caused significant damage to our firm's reputation. We're being portrayed as a workplace that enables adultery and harassment. I'd like to offer you a settlement in exchange for a public statement acknowledging that the firm was not complicit in your employees' personal misconduct." "How much?" $25,000. Ray whistled low. "That's a lot of money." "It's also a lot less than what a defamation lawsuit would cost them," I said, looking at Chen. "Isn't that right?" Chen's expression didn't change, but I caught a flicker of respect in his eyes. "You're not wrong." 50,000. "Mr. Brennan, your employees used your workplace to plan and execute a scheme that destroyed my marriage and nearly ruined my life. They used company computers, company phones, and company time to coordinate their affair and their cover-up. 50,000 is a bargain." Chen was quiet for a long moment. 40,000. Plus a written apology from the firm acknowledging that I was wrongfully accused. "Done." We shook hands. Ray grinned like he'd won the lottery. "There's one more thing," Chen said. "Jessica has been persistent in trying to contact me since her termination. She seems to believe that if she can convince you to recant your story, I might reconsider her employment. And I wanted you to know that nothing you say or do will change my decision. Jessica Brennan will never work in this city's legal community again." As we left Chen's office, Ray couldn't stop talking about the money. 40 grand, Nick. You could buy a new truck, take a vacation, maybe even what? I don't know. Start over somewhere? I thought about that as we drove through downtown. Start over. New city, new life, new identity. Leave behind the wreckage of my marriage and the circus of the last week. But I wasn't done yet. We stopped at a sports bar near Ray's apartment, the kind of place with sticky floors and beer signs from the 1980s. It was Tuesday night, so the crowd was thin. A few regulars nursing beers and watching baseball. 2 Budweisers, Ray told the bartender. As we waited for our drinks, my phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. "Nick, it's Jessica. I need to talk to you. Please." I showed Ray the message. "You going to answer?" "Eventually." The beers arrived, cold and bitter. We drank in silence for a few minutes, watching the Cubs lose to the Cardinals. "You know what the crazy part is?" I said finally. "What?" Part of me still loves her. Ray stared at me. After everything she did? 12 years, Ray. You don't just turn that off because someone betrays you. She tried to destroy you. Yeah, she did. And she almost succeeded. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Jessica. I know you hate me, but I need to explain. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. And another. Jake left me. Said I was too much drama. I have nowhere to go. And another. I'm sorry, Nick. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. Ray read the messages over my shoulder. She's playing you again. Maybe. Or maybe she's finally realizing what she threw away. Does it matter? I thought about that. Did it matter? Jessica had made her choice, lived with the consequences, and now wanted to undo it all. But some things couldn't be undone. Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt. No, I said finally. It doesn't matter. I typed back, Jessica, you made your choice. Live with it. Her response came immediately. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. You made 100 mistakes, over 8 months. I can explain everything. You already did. In those text messages with Jake and Lana. That wasn't real. We were just venting. Just planning how to destroy me and claim victim status afterward. There was a long pause. Then, can we meet, just to talk? I looked at Ray. He shook his head. Bad idea, Nick. Probably. But I typed back, tomorrow, 2 p.m., Romano's. Why Romano's? Ray asked. Because that's where it started. Might as well be where it ends. We finished our beers and headed home. On the drive, Ray tried to talk me out of meeting Jessica. She's going to try to manipulate you again. Let her try. What if she records it? What if this is another setup? Then I'll deal with it. Nick, you're finally winning. Don't give her a chance to turn this around. But I wasn't meeting Jessica to give her a chance. I was meeting her to end this properly, on my terms, in the place where she'd first tried to destroy me. Some conversations you have to finish in person. Romano's looked different in the afternoon light, less elegant, more tired. The lunch rush was over, leaving behind empty tables and the lingering smell of garlic and disappointment. I chose the same corner table where Jessica had held her birthday massacre, positioning myself so I could see the entire restaurant. She was 20 minutes late. When Jessica finally walked in, I barely recognized her. Gone was the confident attorney in designer clothes. This woman looked hollow, desperate. Her hair was unwashed, her makeup couldn't quite hide the dark circles under her eyes, and she was wearing the same jeans and sweater she'd had on when Sandra Willis evicted her. She slid into the chair across from me, the same chair she'd stood up from 6 days ago to deliver her performance. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. Don't thank me yet. You might not like what I have to say. The waiter approached, the same young man who'd processed my declined credit card. He recognized us both, his expression carefully neutral. Can I get you folks anything? Coffee, Jessica said. Black. Same, I said. After he left, we sat in silence. Jessica kept glancing around the restaurant like she was looking for hidden cameras or witnesses. Old habits. You look terrible, I said finally. I feel terrible. Good. She flinched. Nick, I know you hate me. I don't hate you, Jessica. Hate requires energy, and you're not worth the effort anymore. Then why did you agree to meet me? Closure. For both of us. The coffee arrived. Jessica wrapped her hands around the mug like she was trying to absorb its warmth. I heard about Jake, I said. He said I was damaged goods. That being with me was hurting his reputation. Ironic, considering he's the one who damaged you. No, Nick. I damaged myself. Jake just enabled it. I studied her face, looking for signs of deception, but all I saw was exhaustion. Why, Jessica? That's all I want to know. Why? She was quiet for a long moment, staring into her coffee. "Because I was bored," she said finally. "Because I felt like I was sleepwalking through my life. Because Jake made me feel exciting, important, like I mattered. You mattered to me. You made me feel safe. Jake made me feel alive. And now? Now I feel nothing." She looked up at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before in her eyes. Genuine regret. "I know this doesn't change anything," she said, "but I need you to know that the woman who stood up at this table last Thursday night, that wasn't me. That was someone I became because I was too cowardly to face the truth about what I was doing. Which was destroying the best thing in my life because I was too stupid to appreciate it. The text messages, Jessica, 8 months of planning, calling me pathetic, laughing about my feelings. I know how it looked. How it looked? That's how it was. No, it wasn't. Those messages, they were me trying to justify what I was doing. If I could convince myself you were pathetic, if I could make Jake believe you deserved it, then I wasn't the villain. But you were the villain. Yes, I was." She reached across the table, but I pulled my hands away. "Nick, I lost everything. My job, my apartment, my friends. Even my mother won't return my calls. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? That you didn't deserve it? I want you to say you'll forgive me, eventually. Not today, maybe not for years, but someday." I leaned back in my chair, studying this broken woman who used to be my wife. "Jessica, do you know what the worst part was? It wasn't the cheating. It wasn't even the public humiliation. It was the realization that the woman I'd loved for 12 years never actually existed. That's not true. The woman I loved would never have called me ugly in front of my friends. She would never have left me with a $1,200 bill. She would never have conspired to frame me for domestic abuse. So, either you were never that woman, or you stopped being her somewhere along the way." Tears started running down her cheeks. "I can be her again." "No, you can't, because I'll never trust you again. And without trust, love is just chemistry." "So that's it, 12 years, and it's just over?" "It was over the moment you chose Jake over me. Everything since then has just been paperwork." I stood up, threw a $10 bill on the table for the coffee. "Nick, wait." I turned back. "I'm sorry, for all of it. I know it doesn't matter now, but I needed you to hear me say it." "You're right," I said. "It doesn't matter now." I walked out of Romano's for the second time in a week, but this time I was the one doing the leaving. Outside, Ray was waiting in his truck. He'd insisted on driving me, in case you do something stupid. "How'd it go?" he asked as I climbed in. "It went. She tried to get you back?" "In her way." "And?" "And nothing. It's over, Ray. Really over." We drove in silence for a while. Finally, Ray spoke up. "So what now?" "Now I take Chen's $40,000 and figure out what comes next. You could start your own construction company, be your own boss. Maybe. Or you could travel, see the world, find yourself. I'm not lost, Ray. I know exactly who I am." "Yeah? Who's that?" I thought about it as we pulled into my driveway. Who was I, now that I wasn't Jessica's husband anymore? "I'm the guy who fought back," I said finally. "I'm the guy who refused to be a victim. And that's enough? It's a start." 3 months later, I was installing custom cabinets in a kitchen across town when my phone buzzed with a news alert. Local attorney Jessica Brennan arrested for embezzlement. According to the article, Jessica had been caught stealing money from a legal aid clinic where she'd been volunteering. Apparently, she'd been using the organization's credit card for personal expenses, rent, food, car payments. The amount was relatively small, just over $3,000, but it was enough to warrant felony charges. I showed the article to Ray, who was helping me with the installation. "Damn," he said. "She really can't help herself, can she? Some people never learn." "You feel bad for her?" I considered the question. Did I feel bad for Jessica? She was facing jail time, had no job prospects, and had apparently alienated everyone in her life. 6 months ago, I would have felt terrible for her. I would have wanted to help, to fix things, to make her problems go away. Now? "No," I said, and meant it. "I don't feel bad for her. She made her choices." Cold, man. Realistic. Jessica's problems aren't my problems anymore. I went back to work, measuring and cutting and installing, building something useful, something that would last. It was good work, honest work, the kind of work that let me sleep well at night. My phone buzzed again. Text message from an unknown number. "Nick, it's Jessica. I'm in jail. I need help, please." I deleted the message without responding. Some bridges, once burned, should stay that way. 6 months after that, I opened my own construction company, Brennan Custom Carpentry. The business grew quickly, mostly through word of mouth from satisfied customers who appreciated quality work at fair prices. I hired 3 employees, bought a new truck, and moved into a house I'd built myself on 2 acres outside town. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. I never remarried. I dated occasionally, but I was in no hurry to trust someone with my heart again. Maybe someday, but not yet. Jessica served 18 months in minimum security prison. After her release, she moved to another state. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she was working as a paralegal somewhere in Florida, living quietly, keeping her head down. Jake Morrison's legal career never recovered from the scandal. Last I heard, he was selling insurance in his hometown in Ohio. Lana Patterson lost her job and her social media following. She tried to rebuild her online presence with a blog about surviving cancel culture, but it never gained traction. As for me, I learned something important during those dark days when my life fell apart. You can't control what people do to you, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to fight back. I chose to fight back, and in the end, that made all the difference. People sometimes ask me if I regret how I handled things, if I wish I'd been more forgiving, more understanding, more willing to work things out. The answer is no. Jessica didn't make a mistake. She made a series of calculated decisions over 8 months, each one designed to hurt me while benefiting herself. She planned my humiliation, orchestrated my destruction, and when that wasn't enough, she tried to frame me for domestic abuse. Some actions don't deserve forgiveness. Some people don't deserve second chances. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away and never look back. I built a good life from the ashes of my marriage, a life based on honesty, hard work, and self-respect. A life where I don't have to wonder if the person sleeping next to me is planning my destruction. It's a smaller life than I once imagined, but it's entirely mine, and that's enough.